They're finding ways to make people
people
able
pay
to
more.
afford.
People pay more. Yeah.
People can, they're making tricks so they can afford it by paying
Makes
more.
no sense.
Right? They can afford to pay more by paying less per month, by pulling out a rabbit from a hat. What's crazy, and you know what? Actually, before I get into it, this is a perfect time to get Mark into the conversation.
The government up to no good again. Let's get to
they're doing it all backwards, TK.
Let's get to Mark Morris. Let's talk to Mark.
All right, guys, so my rant this week. My rant this week is about CMHC. As you guys may or may not know, CMHC has increased the ability of Canadians to borrow, and they can now borrow putting less than 20% down for homes up to $1.5 million. Previously, it was $1 million. And that seems like a really good thing. You know, everyone's like, hooray, hooray, government. But, you know, government has there's two different ways of looking at every policy. And the first way is to look at it on an individual basis. Hooray, I can borrow more. But the job of a government isn't just to throw money at it's basically taxpayers. It's to actually investigate and aggregate what those programs do. And by putting the cap at $1.5 million, the government of Canada is effectively making homes less affordable for people going forward. CMHC used to be this great enabler. It used to be this program after World War II that came in that allowed people with less than 20% to buy homes. But by doing that, over the course of many, many years, they have successfully pushed prices up and up and up, meaning that the end result is we have people who cannot afford homes. The average person on an average salary has to earn over $250,000 a year in order to afford an average Toronto house. And so it's about time we ask ourselves, what is CMHC doing? If all CMHC is doing is allowing those people with incomes of over $250,000 to apply for lifelong debt because they are effectively making it possible for more and more people to afford more and more expensive product. What they're effectively doing is pushing up the market. And I really wish that politicians, instead of just sitting there and saying, well, this is going to be a temporary band-aid solution that's going to allow more people in, would look at the aggregate effect of actually increasing these CMHC numbers. Because over the course of years, what we're doing is we're making it so that product becomes simply more expensive. You know, Canadian product has to be tied to income. What CMHC does is it kind of divorces the restriction of income and it gives more allowance for people to dive into more and more expensive product. We really need to look at this in aggregate and we need to say, is CMHC actually even doing anything for us anymore? Because if it was removed, if we gradually removed CMHC, say over the course of 10, 15 years, what we would actually have is a normalization of house prices that wasn't divorced from income in the way it is now. I'm not certain that there's anything to celebrate in moving CMHC limits from 1 million to 1.5. I would prefer that those people who can afford homes do so on the merits of their income. And in aggregate, if we actually did that, what we would actually have is a much more sustainable system where prices were not able to go wayward and crazy based on the fact that people were able to borrow at government rates and leverage with only 5 or 10% down to purchase product that they could never otherwise afford. So that's my rant of the week. P.S. This was also in Real Estate Magazine this week as well. I just wrote an article about this, but I feel pretty strongly about it. So it's a bit more of a serious rant, but I really, really hope that we get our heads on tight and start examining what the macro effects of these CMHC policies are, because I think they do distort the market. And perhaps this is one of those instances where libertarians are just completely correct. Less government intervention in the market is what is called for. More is anathema to affordability. Anyways, that's it, guys. I'll speak to you next week.
Whoa, thank you, Mark. That was a little somber and,
good insight.
Good insight. And
the government wants to stimulate stuff because they feel like this is what the people want. But like they don't understand that what they're doing is they're putting fuel on the fire.
They're doing it backwards, though. Instead of finding a way to get people to build affordable housing, they're finding ways to make people able
pay
to
more.
Afford.
People pay more. Yeah.
But people they're making tricks so they can afford it by paying
Makes
more.
No sense.
Right? They can afford to pay more by paying less per month. Yeah. Right? By pulling out a rabbit from a hat. Right? Yeah. But listen, what's going to be next? Interest only, maybe, or actually, maybe we can have 30-year mortgages like the States. Why the fuck can't we have 30-year mortgages like the States?
Like lock it in.
3%, 30-year motherfucker, and I'm in.
I'll
And
get you
who
back.
isn't in, right?
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
isn't in? Why don't we have that? What the hell's going on? That doesn't that save the market? Doesn't that spur on the market? Won't everybody start jumping in, going, yeah, I can like figure this out?
I'm sure the banks have got their reasons why they want to have, certain term limits.
They're the
I mean, a
problem.
lot of guys get 10 years. Like, there's a lot of 10-year terms out there that people get 10-year
They're
mortgages.
the problem. But CMHC has been notorious for making it easier for people to pay more. That's really the crux of the whole thing, right?
Well, their mandate is to create more housing and to give people more options for housing and to be able to make it possible for home ownership. And so their tools are really limited because they're on the financial side. They're on from the federal government side, right? So
their
they've got
tool is a
only,
balance sheet. They just take on
they're just like,
debt,
okay,
the
how can
laws.
we use our money to help
Here you
other
go.
people buy houses
If you
instead
fuck it up,
of
it's okay. We'll figure it out.
going to the root cause of the issue, which is the governments themselves.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our clips channel. Why don't you go and check out some more clips? We got lots of other good content somewhere over here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Boom.
That was good.
That was good. I like that. That was good.